Okay, so as expected, after seeing his fleet was destroyed, well, he did actually try attack. He did try attacking them with the four and didn't lose any unit. I didn't lose any units. He lost all 4 units, and he resigned. So we got our victory. So I want to talk a little bit about what I kind of learned about this and some general gameplay thoughts for those that follow, because the overall. Well, I'm going to back up a second here. First, before I lose people's attention, I do need to make an announcement that I've been conversing back and forth with Marius, and although he does want to play that game with me, he is going to take a break from Axis and Allies for a couple months, he said, and then come back, and then we're going to get that game going. So it's going to be a little while down the road. I'm sorry for getting the hype up too soon. I shouldn't have hyped it yet until I knew a date was on the books. But I completely respect his decision, as I had to take a couple month break a while back ago myself, and when I came back, that's when I stopped playing as much, as aggressively, and I enjoyed it a whole lot better. So I hope he gets his little break and comes back, and then we can have that match. He definitely is excited about having the match, and I am too, and I think everybody will learn from it. So, but getting back to this game in particular, and talking about the G1 tank build and what did I learn. So, we had the comments that the original German tank rush was you built wave after wave of tanks, and your whole goal was to take Moscow quickly. And a lot of times that would include Japan building tanks, and you just have tanks blitzing from the Axis, trying to take advantage of that early material advantage and kill Moscow quickly. But it was pretty quickly in the seasons that the Allies learned to get fighters in here and defend it. And once you defend that initial tank rush, the number of units lost by the productivity, and as units start coming in from the U.S., the Allies would take over, and then the Allies would win those. So that kind of devolved, and eventually the meta broke out of Germany just marching infantry and artillery, building infantry, artillery, maybe building a bomber, maybe building a fighter here or there, but really just infantry and artillery and grinding it out. And Axis was doing quite well with that. Overall, Axis has always had a slight advantage to win when you look at the statistics that Beamdog puts out. However, in the upper level play, generally it was felt that Allies had an advantage. And when you played any of the Discord tournaments and that sort of stuff, Allies had to put a bid in to win, to play Allies. So, at the higher level, Allies was felt advantageous up until more recently, and Marius created this evolution of the G1 tank build, as I call it, because he builds all tanks on G1, and most of the time it's going to be other ground in the follow-up ones, although sometimes he builds some tanks in G2, just depending on what the board presents itself as. But his goal with his G1 tank build is not to take Moscow quickly. His goal is to stack Caucasus, and then by stacking Caucasus, you stop the flow of units coming from India up. India gets pinned, and then you can take India, likely with Japan, and kill those UK units efficiently, and then start battling Africa. And then it becomes a long-range economic game that Axis wins. That being said, you are sitting on Moscow's doorstep, so he's watching for the opportunity to attack Moscow, and with them on the doorstep, Russia has to turtle really hard, so they're not really being active, trading all these other areas and helping the rest of the Allies out, so it shuts down Russia's abilities, even though he doesn't necessarily take Moscow. Now, that being said, if Allies don't play it well, he gets an opportunity to take Moscow, he's going to take it, and it frequently does lead to him getting an early, I should say him, but everyone who's following the footsteps that he's kind of created here, getting an early Moscow. So, in any case, that's kind of the background. So me playing this, I've been, if y'all been following me, those that followed me for a while, I've been playing a lot more Allies lately. I haven't been playing Axis that much, so I hadn't really looked at this until I started catching my eyes at Marius's top 10. He's beating top Allies players in Discord. And so that made me go, okay, well, we probably need to look at this. And so I can look at old pictures of other games and whatnot, but I really learned best just by doing. And so that's what this game was about. And then This game shows that skill is ultimately going to beat out dice luck a lot of times when there's a significant skill gap. And so this player ended up being a silver. And I had that below average dice attacking Ukraine, not down there, attacking Ukraine. At the end of the day, it was pretty quick to see his specific play was on the not as good side, and I was able to exploit that, as well as some of the things he did over here, like dumping in here and not taking these guys where I would never be able to get him back, and sending his Russian units out attacking Japan when he could have put a little bit more pressure while Germany was weak. So I have no doubt, the second thing, I have no doubt if I'd been playing a platinum level player, or even probably a high gold level player for this matter, in this game and how things went there, I would have lost this game. They're just, I was, as people pointed out, very weak in Germany, and I'm not gonna hide it and say that I would have won that against anybody, against everybody, excuse me. So, but nonetheless, what I did find interesting is we still, despite all that massacring, we still got a G5 stack of West Russia, which is always my goal with Germany when I'm playing Axis and doing a KJF. It's always been my goal to get a West Russia stack on G5, transfer it to Caucasus for G6, and then start building units out of here with the goal of G8 or G9, more likely taking Moscow. There's a lot of things that can happen in a game that alters that, but that's the real basic flow that I look for, and this approach didn't change that. We still landed here G5, we still landed here G6. So I found that kind of interesting, and in the large part, it's because of those heavy trades that Germany got weak, but Russia got weak in there too. And this goes back to a general play rule. Is whenever you're the defending country versus an aggressor country. So in a KJF, Russia is the defender, Germany is aggressive. Japan is the defender, US is aggressive in most KJFs. So in those cases, when you're the defending country, you need to have better trades. Trading one for one is ultimately killing you quicker. And what I mean by that is if you take an infantry unit, and we look at the end of the day, this is all going to come down to a capital battle with a mass stack here and a mass stack here of Germany attacking into Russia. And so our main unit, and there's going to be infantry. So I'm just going to use infantry as the example. So infantry attacking has an attack strength of 4. That's 1 attack power and 2 hit points, or 1 hit point multiplied by 2. Has attack power of 3. Here I go, even getting myself mixed up. Attack power of 3. And infantry, that same 3 IPC infantry in defense has a defense strength of 4. So defense power of 2, 1 hit point times 2 gives 4. So the Russian infantry defending is worth 4. The German infantry attacking is worth 3. And so what that means is for every... So 3 of the Russian infantry with defense strength of 4 would give a total defense strength of 12. It would take 4 German infantry with an attack strength of 3 to get that same 12, so they'd be equal at that point. So 3 Russian infantry equals 4 German infantry. Or for every 3 Russian infantry I lose, I need to kill 4 German infantry to be equal. Or to reduce that more, every 1 Russian infantry needs to kill 1 1/3 Russian infantry in order for it to be an equal trade for the final battle. So that is what I've always kind of done mentally in my head. I never really broke it down, the math. I just did that a few moments ago. So I always considered the defending country needed to kill 1.5. That was kind of my rule to make the trade efficient. So, but really, especially when it comes down to infantry, it's 1 for every 1.3. So if you're just trading 1 for 1, you're helping the attacking country. Now, yes, there are other factors that could come in, like the IPC value of the territory. Does it have factory, positional placements? All that sort of stuff weighs into all of that as well. But just a general rule, all that bloody R1, G1, R2, G2 especially, ultimately favored Germany. And so I think they didn't really change that timing as a result. The interesting wild card, since I'm just talking general game theory of Axis and Allies, whether you're looking at a KJF or a KGF, UK, and this is my ally, I'm getting into my ally strategy, but I got on a horse, so I'm going to ride it. The UK, in both those cases, is the accessory country, right? So if we're doing a KJF, it's primarily US attacking Japan. If we're doing a KGF, it's primarily the U.S. ultimately that you're wanting to take Berlin. In both cases, the U.K. is assisting. So U.K. really just wants to trade off as many units with the defending country as possible. So U.K. wants to trade off with Japan in a KJF. So that's where you'll see I'll have... I'll do it with with the Navy, with the UK. I'll drop UK Navy in over here and use them to trade with Japan Navy. But a lot of people, there's a number of people that will use UK ground to be aggressive with Japan in the KJF. And that's great. They're trading units with the defending country, and that's wonderful. They're also good at trading units with the aggressive Axis country, because that's just going to weaken them, but it doesn't weaken the defense. So UK is all about trading as much as possible, wherever possible, whenever possible, in both scenarios, KJF or KGF, at least in my book. So that was just kind of going on to just a general talk of how things go. But just remember, KGF, Germany's defending. They need to be killing 1 1/3 infantry of allies for every 1 they're losing. Meanwhile, Japan wants to be aggressing. If Russia is attacking with them, they want to kill 1 1/3 Japan infantry for every 1 that they're losing, and so forth. So, something to think about, and just you got to really be careful with those trades. That's where, if you're Russia 1 and a couple planes is nice for the trades versus doing 2 infantry and a plane versus 1 infantry, you're kind of on the losing bit. Now, again, I do admit I'm not getting into the full detail. IPC value of the territory plays a role in it as well. One last final thought with the KJF aspect that this game really highlighted. U.S. cannot beat Japan alone. All right. Either they need UK's help with fleet, or they need UK and or Russia's help with taking out ground and making them have to spend money on ground to get over there so that the US can overcome them on fleet. US is not going to beat Japan in a just straight up build battle. Japan starts with the advantage, and unless they're taking away money somewhere, they're going to be going toe-to-toe, building toe-to-toe with US. So you need to have UK somewhere helping Japan out, and that's something that he did not really get a chance to do within this game, especially since that's why taking out India is a big move in a KJF, because that gives UK no more units that they can produce over here to help out the attack on Japan. All right, I know that was a lot, and I kind of went on a long rant there, and I probably left out half the thoughts I had in my head. So feel free to put in the comments questions and whatnot. And I look forward to going on to this, since we're not going to be having the Marius game coming up quite yet. The things that we have going on, we just started the duos tournament, so I'm pairing up with Antron Golden again, and we got our first match. Our first match is against Owen Magnus and Pentix. And so we're going to be going against them, and so I may be recording that. And or we got the next season of clubs getting ready to start up here in a few weeks as well. And third thing I'm going to continue, and this is what I'll probably record here in the beginning, rather than the duos match yet, is I'm going to keep dabbling a game here and there in the Axis and just playing with this G-Tank build and seeing what I can learn, about it, and maybe not lose my whole stack by G2. Still find that kind of funny, and again, I am ready to admit I did not play it the best, but we got the win, so roll on. All right, till next time.